Hello, and I'm so excited to introduce you to another one of Empowered Whole Being Press authors. Michael Orwig's joining us today. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Candace. Good to be with you today.
Oh, so excited about the work that you're doing with the quantum children. As you can see, his books are displayed here. Before we get started, I just want to read quickly a little bit about you, Michael, so the readers will get to know some of your background because it's very impressive. Michael Orwig is an international speaker and author. He has a degree in mathematics and psychology from Duke University and a master's degree in mind-based medicine and hypnotherapy from Quantum University. As a former 747 captain, he's a pilot. He has traveled the world connecting and healing the subtle energy grids of our planet, which is an amazing, amazing contribution. So again, I just want to point out Michael's books. You can see the one in blue is the first of his series, and a parent's guide for the 21st century. And it's about children coming in. It's such an amazing resource book. So much information in there for parents of children that clearly have a more expansive awareness of consciousness. And the book in the more of the cranberry burgundy color, this is his second book in the series, and it's all about supporting the child on their soul's path. This book is filled with case studies and interviews of parents of quantum children. Lots of great information in that book as well. So Michael, if you would, I'd love to ask you a couple of questions to help our viewers and potential readers of your great work understand a little bit about you. So would you just share with us what inspired you to write this two books of your series, which I know there's more coming, but what inspired you to go down this path of writing?
Everything I do writing-wise is spirit connected, spirit driven
Mm.
for the shifts in consciousness. And it is my version of the service that I hope to bring within all of this to help so many of the new parents with information about the shifts in consciousness and about the changes going on behind the scenes within the new children. And I call it the great illusion because on the surface, I've got 10 grandkids, and on the surface, these kids look just like any other generation. But
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness, there's so much change behind the scenes that's aligned for where all of humanity is going. And I try to basically, as the first book talks about, a parent's guide into the 21st century, it's all about trying to compile as much information in the books and my videos on my website that's helpful for parents because millions of higher consciousness level kids are coming in, but we're trained as parents to do what mom and dad did 30 years ago.
Yeah,
40 years
so
ago.
true.
My mom was born in the 30s, and I carry patterns from her that were coded into my subconscious up to age 7. And that's what happens with the human nature is kids literally pick up everything mom and dad did, right, wrong, good, bad, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's coded in at a subconscious level up to age 7. Then they have kids and these patterns reemerge and come back out. But we are moving into a level of consciousness that we haven't seen before. And it, in many ways, it's like the blind leading the blind. I mean, I could ask any one of my different people that I talk with, have you ever raised a fifth dimensional child? Well, the answer is no. Well, neither have I. We've worked with different levels leading up to that,
Mm-hmm.
but no, we're all in a new level of where we're going. And well-meaning parents are still going to pull from their old patterns, and the more that I can empower them to think in new ways.
Mm.
That's a lot of my purpose. And the
Your inspiration. Yeah.
spirit level information that we bring in is huge because they're looking at the global picture. And my job is to listen and do the best I can to convey the information as seamlessly and smoothly so that anyone could understand it. And that's a lot of where my part is within all of that.
It's amazing. It's fantastic that you felt this inspiration and guidance to bring this important work. Because I don't recall seeing much else out there in the depth that you have
Very little.
gone
There's very
with this
little.
topic. Yeah, there really isn't much, and there's such a need for it. Which
Dr.
lead
Meg, Dr. Meg brought her Children of Now books, but really other than that, and she talks about it in a different way in general.
I agree.
But she was one of the first that started talking about Children of Now within that. But I haven't seen anybody else, and it's a much needed topic, and so
It
I'll do the
is.
best we can to
It
bring as much
is.
information to people. And
So this leads me to my next question, which is, in what ways do you hope that the readers of your book will receive what they need to better their life experience? So in this case, better parents, better experience for their children. So how do you envision that? What's your hope for that?
within the awakening going on worldwide, parents are going to wake up and break out of some of their conditioning their society has done.
Hmm.
When they do, they, in the worst way, want information of the new paradigms.
Hmm.
And that's what I hope to basically give them as best I can. Book one is more informationally driven,
Hmm.
book two is more story driven. Both are great in and of themselves. And some people are drawn more to one or the other or whatever, but it's fascinating to, from my perspective, bring in information at levels that any one of the newly awakened parents can understand, and yet at the same time push the boundaries as far as I can, and pay attention to that. It's writing this book without metaphysical language is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, to try to write that thing.
Yeah, I can
Stories are a
understand
little
that.
bit easier to write with, but certainly within the metaphysical community, we have our own language.
Mm.
And a lot of what I really focus on is trying to write the information so that anyone could understand it and find something of benefit. And everybody's unique, everybody's different, they are where they are. And I want to be able to give highly advanced people some thoughts maybe that they hadn't seen before, and newly awakened moms or whatever, much as we can guide them as they can handle. And hopefully in a new mother's instance, they'd go back and maybe reread it a couple of years later and see if there was something that they picked up on new that they hadn't seen before. But
Mm.
uh, it's fascinating work to try to compile as much information in as many different forms. The books are one form. I'm doing my own interviewing and my own videoing. A lot of the new generation prefer videos or listening to something on audio. And
Mm.
it's all about trying to uh, help everyone move
Yeah,
forward
support
as fast as
your
they can.
your message of addressing the quantum children, as you refer to them, in energetically, with an understanding that they all, as we all are more than physical.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
more going on. So that is fabulous. So I your books are available anywhere and everywhere. And I would encourage those who, if you know of someone who has a child that is Ex absolutely expressing themselves in a more enlightened manner, have more awareness. This is the book for those parents, and if you know someone that could use this book, highly recommend the resource book and the case studies book. And one last question that I wanna ask you, what do you have any idea what your 3rd book in this series might be?
I get ideas, and it easily maybe even be a composite combination of the two, where more stories, but also more information.
New information probably is coming through all the time anyway.
Well, I have a very good connection to Sarah Adams, and she lives a multidimensional life.
Mm,
Well, she's very different. She's a dear, she's like family, but she's very different. And a lot of these kids may very well be also in that same vein. And it's all about moving our awareness to levels we've never seen in this society before,
and
and
supporting it.
supporting it.
Mhm.
The I did an interview with Jerry Wills, one of the best holistic, energetic, intuitive healers on the planet, and he grew up in Tennessee. And his stepfather beat him for 10 years because he didn't want anything woo woo, what they were referring to. Jerry's my age, but they
Mhm.
didn't want anything woo woo basically showing up at all in their family. And no, the whether the kids are
Yeah,
empathic, sensitive, these kids are super sensitive coming in now. I mean, I don't mean a little sensitive, I mean
I
super
understand.
sensitive.
Yeah.
And if you hand them over to the medical establishment and here say, do what you've always done, you're going to, unfortunately, compromise their health in many different ways. And that's why I want the mother or father to intuitively feel everything that are the choices and not just give your power away to the man in the white coat. And we can say some of the same things with the education system,
Mm,
all of the structures in society, in my opinion. And that's what the second book a lot was about, was supporting the kids on their soul's path. A
mhm.
lot of our structures in society are as many as 50 and 100 years behind where these kids need. And parents have to make different choices. I want to try to empower them to make that choice. And it's
Perfect.
it'll be interesting to see. I mean, everybody makes their own choice, and I'll allow them their own divine path as it is.
Well, we're looking forward to learning more about that as it unfolds. I'm sure it'll come. Thank you so much for your time today and having a moment with you to share with our our readers and visitors to our website about your book. And so, thank you, Michael Orwig, and thank you for your work. And this is the conclusion of our interview with Michael Orwig, the author of the Quantum Children series.
And Candace, thank you for all of your support and everything as well.